Okay, so now I want to give you guys a very quick exercise. I've got two graphs over here, or two curves. Both of them are called linear curves. In other words, both of them are straight. So I've got one curve over here that happens to be, one of them happens to be y equals a half x, and the other happens to be y equals 3x. Now I want you to take a moment, pause the video, and tell me which graph is going to be a half x and which graph is going to be 3x. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to label each of these curves. I'm going to call this curve over here A. Sorry, I meant to start, let's just call this one B and call this one A, right? Now I need you to tell me which curve happens to be A and which curve happens to be B. Is this one A or is this one A? Now, when you compare the equations, right, remember that we said the coefficient of x, the thing in front of the x, happens to be the gradient. And the bigger this number, the steeper the graph is. And the steeper the graph is, the closer that graph gets to the y-axis. Now, if I look at this, I can see over here that clearly 3 is a bigger number than a half. So that means the equation that has y equals 3x must be steeper. So if you had to think of steepness, think about this being an incline. Think of walking up a road in the bull cup. And if you're walking up this road here, for example, it's going to be easier than walking up this road, right? You might even roll down here. Okay, so therefore we can now conclude that this curve over here happens to be A, right? And the other one over there happens to be B, because B has a lesser incline than A. Okay, so therefore the coefficient of x for the graph of B will be smaller than the coefficient for the graph of y equals 3x over here. Okay, so this one is the graph y equals 3x, and this one over here is the graph y equals a half x. Okay, and you know that by this coefficient.